And good evening, Commanders, and welcome to the Elite Dangerous Astro Tour. It is fantastic to be back. After a 2-week absence, I keenly miss my streaming and my Elite Dangerous. There's lots of stuff to talk about tonight as well, so it's good. There's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of stuff to do. So here we are. Lovely to see so many of you in the chat as well. So welcome to. I saw a few of you on Twitter as well saying you're hoping to pop along for the first time this evening. So welcome if you are new. Welcome if you've been here since. God knows how long have I been streaming now? 2 years? So anyway, yeah, it's lovely to see you all. Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming along. Yes, this is the Elite Dangerous Astro Tour. So welcome one and welcome all. Right, first things first. Where am I? Where am I? So Commander F99, yes, I saw your name, fantastic. I've just given you a friend request in the game, so hopefully that's all sorted out. Bad Michael was here last week. Did you miss that I wouldn't be here? I was in holiday, so yeah, I was on holiday in Scotland. Now Scotland is a fantastic place, well worth a visit. Got nothing to do with the Astro Tour at all, but definitely recommend it. Okay, it's a really nice place. So, but it's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's Thursday night. It's Elite Dangerous Astro Tour night, and we are coming up on the halfway mark of our Astro Tour already. So that's all good stuff. Now, first things first. I am in the Aldebaran system, so that's where we're starting off, and I'm currently parked at Fisher's Rest Megaship. So if you're anywhere close by, that's the place to get yourself to. You can see us here. That's where we are right now. So get yourself into that kind of locale. I'll be taking off in just a moment. So fantastic. So anyway, Howie from Milton Keynes says Commander no headphones. Zero Tech Music says hello. Sophia's here, excellent, and Anna Claire, lots of familiar names. Aussie G, yes, hello, good to see you as well. I think you're new as well. I think I saw you on Twitter. So welcome to you too. Fantastic to see you all here. Commander J99 says, please know, Drew, that I have finally started reading Declaration. It's only been out for like 6 years. Years after I read Premonition. Well, you may have spotted something slightly out of order there, my friend, but never mind. No. So hopefully I haven't contributed to any COVID in Scotland. I haven't had COVID as far as I know. So I think we're all good. Not the Aldebaran system. Wrong genre. Well, actually, the right genre, wrong franchise. No, not the Aldebaran system, the Aldebaran system. The Aldebaran system. Yes, GalNet is on my list of things to talk about as well. We've got loads to talk about this evening because there's been a 2-week gap for me, and other stuff has happened. So yes, looks like we're on the edge of war, which is jolly exciting. So we'll get into that in a bit. Dragonite says, I just ordered Reclamation. How many volumes are? Well, there were 2 from me, Reclamation and Premonition, and there are some other books. Okay, so I'm not the only Elite Dangerous author who's ever been, and if you go on Amazon, you'll find quite a few others. So check them out. Off the top of my head, I might get this wrong. Mostly Harmless by Kate Russell, And Hear the Wheel by John Harper, Lave Revolution by Alan Stroud. T. James had a book called Out of the Darkness. There are 3 by Galance, the names of which now escape me because it's too long ago. And there is Tales of the Anthology, which is a bunch of short stories in the Elite Dangerous universe as well. So go and enjoy them. They're all really good. So knock yourself out. Plenty of Elite Dangerous stuff to read. Yes, for the Empire, huzzah! At last, we can go killing Feds again. So that's really, really good. Master Plan says, hi Drew, finally caught up on your law tour and up to date on the Astro Tour. Excellent. Read your first late book and the first 2 show. Hey, enjoying that. Good. I'm glad other people are reading books as well. So keeps me busy. I have been making sterling progress on my latest book, which I'm doing at the moment, Doom Dark's Revenge, which for those of you with a ZX Spectrum inclination from the 80s will probably remember. Just hit 90k words today, so celebration there as well. So that's awesome. The other thing, actually, and I've got you guys to thank for this, actually. I got a notification. I got a Google alert earlier in the week that said my name had popped up on Twitch, and I thought that's a bit weird. Anyway, I went and checked out the web page, and apparently, I don't know how I did this. Not quite sure what happened, but For at least for a brief moment, I was the 9th most popular Elite Dangerous streamer on Twitch at some point in the last week. So huzzah again! Thank you, and thank you to all you guys. I think that's probably down to you. I should be thanking you. So handshakes and pats and cups of teas all around. I think for that one. So anyway, thank you very much for that. That was really good. So I'm glad you're loving Shadewood. That's really good because Shadewood is a special thing for me. Okay, that's my kind of heart and soul is Shadewood. If you want to know anything about me, that's kind of me. Shadewood is. So that's really good. You love our stream. You love my streams. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. I mean, I'm just, as far as I'm concerned, I'm sort of sitting in front of here, wittering on, mucking about with a computer game and talking about astronomy, playing dodgy MIDI compositions at you. So I'm having great fun. As long as you guys enjoy it too, then it's okay. That's awesome. So anyway, fantastic. Right, anyway, let's get on and do some stuff. Now, I did want to do something the other week, which I didn't have time to do because I ran out of time. I want to do it tonight because I think we've got time. I would like everybody who is here at Fisher's Rest to hop on across to one of the fleet carriers. Now, is the owner of Wimbledon Common in the chat? Because it's not going to work if he isn't. Well, she isn't. I'm assuming gender again. So is the owner of Wimbledon Common in the chat? Please, can you let me know? I'm going to take off anyway, so here we go. If I can remember how to fly my ship. Woo! I've just... my HOTAS is set for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Oops. Which means my throttle was at 0 for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it wasn't for Elite. Dweller is here. Excellent. Oh, I see Dweller's online. Fantastic. Yes, of course, he's in my wing. What am I saying? I haven't even been looking at the screen. Commander Sea Dweller, you're in your wing. Shows how much attention I was paying. Awesome. Fantastic. So, oops. Right, so head over to Wimbledon Common, okay? There's a mega ship. Not a mega ship, a fleet carrier called Wimbledon Common. You need to do this before we go anyway. And by the way, thank you to, again, I really do appreciate this. Thank you to all the fleet carrier owners. I like to give them a little heads up on the screen here. There were none of these here earlier on. Of course, I had to announce where we were going. So it's lovely. There's 9 fleet carriers here. So Tannilawn is a Michael Moorcock reference. Shackleton, the Valiant, the JMC mining ship, the Red Dwarf. What the smeg is that doing here? Wimbledon Common, which is where we must go. So I'll select that one. The Absolution, which has been a firm favourite of the Astro Tour and the Law Tour for many months. Serenity Station, Firefly, love that. GSV Amadare or Amadare, I'm not sure on that one, but tell me about that one. And Storm's Nest, that's a newish one. So again, tell me all about that one. So that's good. But anyway, quickly go to the Wimbledon Common. We must go to the Wimbledon Common. I meant to do this the other week and I didn't have a chance. So lovely to see so many ships as well. That's awesome. So let's get ourselves moving before we took off. There we go. The Wimbledon Common isn't too far away. So everybody go to the Wimbledon Common. Okay, it's very important we go to Wimbledon Common. My poor crate, which is exploration focused. There we go. Right, let's get this ship moving. That's awesome. Uber says thanks for Shackle. No, I appreciate you guys bringing your fleet carriers across because I know it's not the cheapest thing to do. And yeah, you've been trogging your ships around the galaxy, and that means mining. It's tritium, isn't it? Tritium. That's the fuel. And yeah, no, I appreciate all the efforts. Yeah. Lovely to have the company, and it's been really useful to have these massive ships around to be places of interest to sort of stop at and do other stuff. So no, really good, lovely to have the company of the fleet carriers is really good. So so everyone arrive on Wimbledon. Make sure you don't drop any litter. Okay, it's very important you don't drop litter. But at Wimbledon Common, things will go wrong. The universe will implode and stuff. Okay. For those of you, hopefully a few. I'm not going to do a major instancing thing because we don't really have time at the moment. Because I do want to get on with the actual Astro Tour bit, which is kind of why we're here. But for those of you who haven't been on the stream before, or haven't even seen the YouTube renditions of it, we don't tend to take things too seriously. At least not at the moment. We do try and have a lot of fun as we go along. There are the odd facts thrown in, okay? And hopefully you'll learn a little bit about some stuff. Aldebaran looking very nice there, actually, by the way. It's a very, very big star. Aldebaran, not one of the hugest ones in the universe, but much, much bigger than the Sun. So it's a bit of a beast. So you can see where, even as we're closing on the Wimbledon Comet at 16 times the speed of light, Aldebaran isn't moving all that fast because it's so huge, which is really good. Right, am I slowing down correctly? Here we go. So hopefully my wing, and Commander Sea Dweller is in my wing, so apologies for not spotting that. Obviously wasn't paying attention. So that would be good. So anyway, Wimbledon Common, this is where we must go first. So where we're going to go first. Now we've got there's so much stuff happening. I've got to talk about GalNet, of course, in a bit. We'll do that when we're in a bit of a hyperspace jumping lull, because we've got some distances to travel tonight. We're beginning to pick up the pace now in terms of the destinations we have to go to, because the places we're going to be visiting are further and further apart. So this will give your exploration ships are going to have to slowly have a chance to sort of stretch their legs as we go. So. Yeah, we're getting further and further away from the Earth. In fact, we're not going to be back in the vicinity of Earth for a while now. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, so we'll have a few lulls as we travel around. But here is Wimbledon Common. So I can see a few ships down there. So anyway, get yourself as close to Wimbledon Common as you can. Are any dogs allowed at Wimbledon Common? I think you'll be okay. If snake class ships are allowed, I think dogs are okay. So anyway, I'm just gonna park up here, just about in front of the ship. It's a jolly nice looking ship. There we are, all green as it should be for the Wimbledon Common. Right, I can't remember which button to press. There we go. Right, so I'm gonna just back my camera away, if I can remember how to do it. I'm not in the right mode. Realise the free camera, but there we go. Forgotten how to use the game. There's a few ships about. That's awesome. Right, so we are here at the Wimbledon Common. So this is for you, Commander Sea Dweller. This is for you. I did promise this a little while ago, and I ran out of time. So here we go. This is definitely this is for you. And for those of you who don't know, this is your education too. This is, of course, the best tune in the history of music ever. Copyright claim. We'll see. There we go. I haven't actually got any further with it. Actually, I'm still working on it. Believe it or not. Because there's another bit where Uncle Bulgaria isn't behind the time. Can't remember when he's not behind the times or something like that. But that bit is even more complicated. It's actually a surprisingly complicated piece of music. So anyway, so that was a little diversion. Yeah. So apologies. I haven't finished it all yet. I'm still working on it, but I wanted to get it in because I don't really have another slot for it at the moment. And I saw the Wimbledon Common there tonight. I thought we've got to do that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, Commander Sea Dweller. Right, so we should get back on and do some serious stuff at this point. Dear. It's all good fun. Right, so how do I get back in my ship? There we go. Press that button. Right, so we are at the Aldebaran system, okay. And Aldebaran, as we saw. Where's the actual star? It's over here somewhere. Huge, great, big, enormous star. Actually, interestingly enough, in Elite Dangerous, there is nothing particularly special about the system. So, Commanders, I'm glad you a carrier full of Wombles, very happy. Awesome. So Elite in Elite Dangerous, the Aldebaran system is virtually barren. There are no planets, nothing at all. So we don't know really what's going on there. In terms of it as a star, spectral type K. Here we are. Orange giants like this are reaching the end of their lives and have moved off the main sequence. Hydrogen has stopped fusing in the core, leaving a collapsed core of degenerate helium, and hydrogen burning is taking place in an outer shell as as the star continues to expand. Benny Hill theme. You've given me an idea. That one might be quite fun to try as well. So this is an orange giant star which is reaching the end of its life. So this is interesting here. Look at the solar masses. It's only 0.7. So actually, in terms of its actual mass, it's not. It's only about 70% of the sun in mass, but it's much bigger. Solar radius. Look, it's 29 times the radius of the sun. So the sun would literally fit, right inside there. It would be absolutely tiny. It's the one. Drew won't be ninth anymore. The Wombles is what does it. Yeah, that's right. So this star is nearing the end of its life and it's expanded. Okay, so this is what will happen to our sun. So one of the reasons astronomers are quite interested in the Aldebaran system is because it's like looking into the future of what's going to happen to our star. And astronomers are very interested in the life cycle of stars and what's going to happen and all that kind of good stuff. And this is what we think is going to happen to our sun in a few billion years. Nothing to worry about at the moment. When it will expand and it will consume the innermost planets. It will eat Mercury. Mercury will hit the outer edge of the atmosphere and that's it. Boom, died. Same thing will happen to Venus, almost certainly. Earth is a bit of a kind of 50-50. We're not entirely sure how big the sun will get. And so the Earth might be spared from being absorbed by the expanding sun, or it might not. It's not entirely clear. But either way, the Earth will kind of be boiled to a crisp because the heat output here is much higher than the sun. It's generating an awful lot more energy at this stage, eating through its fuel, and burning it up very fast. Although burning, of course, isn't the right word; it's nuclear fusion. But and there's somebody I think just pointed out in the chat actually, it's Tuplex. There we go. It wouldn't look like this. Okay, this is way too regular. Elite Dangerous doesn't have the ability to render stars of different sort of shapes. It only does spheres. And so actually, if you could go to the Aldebaran system, you see this sort of distended mess of a star, kind of boiling off in all directions, which would be quite an interesting thing to see. But it is, it'd be a massive thing. It's. But this is what will happen to our sun. So that's why it's quite interesting to watch Aldebaran. Now, time I turn on Space Engine. Space Engine's better, but it's still not perfect for these type of stars. Now, just to give you where are we in space? Okay, we know where we are in Elite Dangerous, but where are we in space? So I'm just going to fire up my trusty planetarium software for a moment, and hopefully it will jump onto the right screen. Otherwise, I'm going to have to move things around. There it goes. Right, give it a moment to refresh. Okay, so this is the night sky outside my house, and actually, it is clear tonight. So this is what is outside my house right now. So I live at a place called Ashford in Kent, and if I'm looking south, this is what I would be seeing. Now there's Mars high in the sky. So if any of you are looking south and east about this time of night in the northern hemisphere, around about, what are we now? Just gone 8 o'clock. And there's something bright up in the sky in the southeast. It's Mars. Okay, so go and have a look at that. It's worth having a look. Over here, though, directly east is, there we are, boom, Aldebaran. Okay, so we are currently there in the galaxy, having toured around the summer stars in the last episode. So we're now at Aldebaran. Now our destinations tonight, and hopefully a little bit further on, we're first going to visit the Pleiades star cluster, which isn't too far away. And then we're going to shoot over to the Pleiades with a bit of luck. So, obviously, there's a standard Elite Dangerous warning about the Pleiades. Is that obviously that's where quite a lot of the Thargoids have historically been hanging out. So I can give no guarantees that we won't be hyperdicted if we go over there. But we'll have to sort of take our chances. But it's an astronomical destination. So just bear in mind that there are aliens are hanging around out there as well. So we'll have to see how it goes. Guest stars the Thargoids, yeah. So anyway, so that's exactly, you know, what's beautiful about Elite Dangerous, which not everybody, I mean, you guys almost certainly know, but not everybody's realised that it actually is a pretty good simulation of the galaxy itself. Well, it's one of its major selling points, of course, is that it is a reasonable simulation of a one-to-one scale galaxy. And Aldebaran, where we are right now in Elite Dangerous, is visible in the night sky right now. So if you look east, if you literally go outside, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, in the UK or Europe at the moment, obviously time zone wise, and look east, boom, there you go. So yeah, I find that quite compelling. That's one of the things I love about Elite Dangerous, is the fact that I can look in my astronomy software, I can look out of the window. Literally the window behind me is facing east, so I should be able to see Aldebaran out there, and then go, and I can look at that star in the night sky and go, been there. which is geeky and fun, kind of in equal measure. So there we go. Anyway, so with no further ado, let us get on our way. Now the Pleiades in Elite Dangerous is a bit and correctly done, to be honest, but it's not really a very compact star cluster. So Aldebaran is here. It's not all that far away from Sol. You can see Sol over there. And it's in the same general direction. So if I type Pleiades into the search engine, it's a bit vague. It's sort of the Pleiades sector. So what I tend to do, actually, the Pleiades is on the way to. The Pleiades are on the way to the Pleiades. So what we'll do is we're going to find some stars that are sort of along the way, really. And try and use them, because the Pleiades don't actually appear specifically on it's just a sector. So what I'm going to do, actually, I think I'm going to set a destination for the Pleiades, and then we'll have a look at the route that it plots. So that's not right either. Come on, let's just do that search again. I actually want the Pleiades star cluster. So there's a Pleiades nebula over there. Right, let's cancel this and go back over there. See if I can get it to just come on, lock onto the. I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll use Maya. That's a star inside the Pleiades nebula, which is the bit that we're interested in. Yeah, Merope or Maya. Let's go to Maya. And so let's see, it's 300 light years away. For me, it's not too far, I don't think, because I've got a decent jump range. It's only 6 jumps. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? So let's see as we go. We'll stop in the Pleiades to see where we go. So set course for Maya. What I'll do, let's have a quick look at the galaxy map and find out some of the intermediate places. So HIP, it's also. It's taking us down that way, so that's okay. So that's about the right direction. So Pleiades sector. I've bookmarked a star. That must be one I meant to go. So let's go there, okay? And that will be our stop in the Pleiades. So I'm going to just type that in the chat so you guys have got it. Pleiades sector DRV C223. There we go. So let's go there for the Pleiades, all right? And then that will give us a jump. That's only a couple of jumps for me, so we'll get there. So hopefully you can follow along. Let's get across there, and then we can start talking about that. And we'll say goodbye. We'll wave goodbye to the Wimbledon Common. Thank you very much for doing that. Dav's Hope, yes, of course. That's the reason I marked it. Dav's Hope, of course, a very useful a place for commanders to pick up materials and stuff, and we'll hop across to the Maya system in a bit. Now, all of these things that we're searching tonight are in the constellation of Taurus, which is Taurus the Bull. So Aldebaran is the eye of the bull. And you may have noticed an awful lot of stars that we've been visiting have AL as their prefix. So it's Aldebaran, Algreb. There's all sorts of stars in the night skies with Al something. And that's because these stars were named by Arabic astronomers. And we've kept those names over the years. So you know, a lot of the names of things in the night sky are actually Arabic. And the reason for that is because the ancient Greeks named quite a few stars, but primarily the constellations. And unfortunately, of course, in Europe, after the Romans left, we had a bit of a backward step called the Dark Ages, which lasted quite a long time. And while we did make a few advancements, in general terms, we were most of Europe was obsessed with religion and having wars with each other during that period of time. He's simplifying history quite a lot. Whereas in the Far East, the Arabs were had rediscovered the Greek literature and were working through it and figuring stuff out. And they made quite a lot of advances in terms of astronomy during that time. And it wasn't really until kind of the Renaissance period in Europe that we caught back up again. So an awful lot of astronomical advances and naming conventions for things in the night sky were Arabic, because they did all the work during that period of history. So it's quite interesting to see how these things have all kind of come about. So you're looking up things like Aldebaran and Antares, Algreb, Altenac, and some of the places that we saw in the Plough, Altair, for example, that we visited in the summer stars. They're all Arabic names. So and they stored a lot of information, preserved the Greek writings, and investigated them, kind of moved on from there. And Europe took a 1,000-year break while we were busy doing other stuff, shall we say, before the Renaissance and stuff. So there we go. So interesting time. And of course, there was a little bit of conflict between Europe and the Arab world back then, and all sorts of stuff. I've been doing a little bit of history research as well. It's been quite good fun in terms of some of these things. It's fascinating to see how all these sort of things going on. So Europe's Trump phase, yeah. Well, we I vowed not to talk about the election. I don't think it's. I'm not an American, so I can't. I don't have any right to say anything about it. It has been tickling me a little bit, some of the stuff that's going on, but and I do have a lot of American friends on both sides of that debate. The one thing that's really freaking me out, though, of course, in the UK we have our left wing organisation is coloured red. And so in the UK, sort of socialistic left-wing ideas have generally been associated with the colour red. And in the UK, the opposite is true. The sort of conservative right-wing kind of mentality is associated with the colour blue. Of course, in the States, it's the other way around. Which I'm a bit surprised at, because I always remember sort of communism and things like that, in the 70s being associated with red. So I'm a bit surprised that nowadays in the US, right wing is red and left wing is sort of blue. I don't know why that is. So maybe some of the Americans can explain what that's all about. But we still don't know, do we? We still don't know. I don't think we know for sure who's won the election, which is a bit confusing. Glenn says the US has most things backwards. Well, I would like to take some moral high ground, but the UK has none of that left. So I heard that quite a few people had voted for Kanye West. Which, of course, similar things happened in the UK, that people voted for. People were asked what religion they were, and lots of people in the UK wrote down Jedi on the official census. So now Jedi is a choice on the UK, what religion are you? And things like that do make me chuckle. So what can you do? What can you do? Hopefully it will be resolved. Hopefully it will be resolved. Shall we meet at Dav's Hope? We could go for a little drive around Dav's Hopes, couldn't we? That might be fun, and it'll give me a chance to have a chat about the GalNetty stuff. So let's do that. Since we're passing through. Killer Clown says, "Hell, I want to become a Jedi." Yeah, it would be awesome, wouldn't it? I must admit, I am very Well, am I childish? You tell me. Whenever I come up to a sliding door, I don't know if you guys do this. Whenever I come up to a sliding door, I keep out of range, and as I approach, I wave my hand. And the door, of course, opens using the power of the Force, and I get one or other two actions. Either I get somebody just totally ignores me and gives me a disapproving look, or something along those lines, or the person who's watching me will basically go, "May the Force be with you," something along those lines. Which is really funny. So, but anyway, what can you do? What can you do? Right now, where is Dav's Hope? I've forgotten. It's on one of these planets. Which planet is it? Can somebody tell me? Yeah. Always do the Jedi door trick. The fifth planet, that one. Okay, look how many. It's crazy. Number of fleet carriers are here. There we go. Let's go over there. The fifth planet. There we go. So let's pop down there, because it'd be good to have a quick chat about GalNet, and let's do some analysis of what's going on down there. Just follow the carriers. Yeah, there's loads of them, aren't there? There we go. So we'll pop down onto the surface. Maybe drive the SRV. I haven't done that for a while. I should have bookmarked the planet. Yeah, I know. I'm not as organised as I should be sometimes. Now, anyway, we're in the Pleiades sector. Now, the Pleiades, just so you know, are an open star cluster. So what do I mean by open star cluster? Basically just a bunch of stars. Now, stars are born from nebula. So all the pretty nebulas you've been seeing around in Elite Dangerous, these are places where stars are born. Okay, so what basically happens is that nebulas are massive things. They're huge, great big clouds of dust and gas, essentially, left over from either the formation of galaxy in the first place, or supernova explosions. They're a mix of debris, basically, from leftovers. But where the density is high enough, the nebula can undergo collapse. Now, I use the word density quite guardedly. Now, where's does anybody know how to find the surface installation? Does it show up on a scan? I should know. Hang on, let me just deal with this friend request here. That's always a good thing. Is Dav's Hope Can I see it on the system map? That's what I should be looking. Does it show up? Wait. Zoom in. Doesn't, does it? Doesn't appear, but can appear on nav after scan. Okay. Follow my signal, says Commander Kelvinator. Okay, I'll do that. That's far easier. Where are you? I can't see you on the wing. Oh, hang on, you're over there. Right, let me just turn around then. So anyway, so get down to Dav's Hope. We'll have a little tour around there. The Commander Sea Dweller. There we go. He's coming in. So I'll hang around it all bit for a moment. Got my planet probes. Should show off the map. Yeah, I'm. That requires me to use the FSS, which I have got mapped, but I've probably forgotten how to use it. So I'll wait a moment. But we'll be down there in a minute. Commander Sea Dweller will guide me in. But yeah, anyway, so nebulas. Nebulas are massive, great big clouds of dust and gas, but they're not clouds in the sense that, you know, clouds on Earth, right? They are not. The density of a nebula is incredibly low. It's as good as a vacuum, okay, on Earth, easily, probably better than a vacuum on Earth. So one of the best vacuums you could make on the Earth would probably have more stuff in it than a nebula does per space. So they, oddly enough, they only look good from quite a long way off. So a nebula, as the closer you get to it, the less interesting it becomes in some ways, because the moment you get inside it, it becomes quite unspectacular at all. So an Elite Dangerous actually does this quite well, in the sense that the nebulas are pretty from a few light years away, which is correct. The closer you get to them, the less impressive they look, which unfortunately is a bit of a shame, because you kind of expect them to be really awesome close up. But it's actually correct that they probably wouldn't be. I need the surface scanner, so anyway, I'll follow Commander. See whether he knows where he's going. It's lucky I've got some talented commanders to follow all in. So we'll just pop down to the surface and have a quick drive around. Now, while we drive around, there's something else I want to do as well, which is important stuff.
Orbital flight engaged.
Let's just get into the glide mode. I can see the mountain. I think I have been here before, so I do vaguely know my way around. But anyway, down to the surface if you fancy it. So yeah, so the Pleiades themselves are stars that were born out of a nebula. There's very little of the nebula left now. In fact, it's pretty impossible to see. Visually, you can't see it, and even with long exposure photographs of space, it's quite hard to see. That's because the Pleiades star cluster is a relatively mature cluster in the sense of its age. And when the stars are formed, they start off really, really close together, and then they slowly, sort of gravitationally drift away from each other until they get scattered. Now, our sun was part of a star cluster at some point in time, but it's long since lost its fellow stars that it was kind of born with. And they're off all over the galaxy now. They've sort of been spread out across the entire galaxy. And actually we think, I'd have to go and look it up, but we think we found one of our sun's sister stars, sorry. And but it's virtually on the opposite side of the galaxy now. It's that's how far away it is. And you can tell that because every star has a unique, or close to unique, metallicity. I can't even say the word. Metallicity configuration, basically the combination of metals in it, and you can investigate this and then see which stars are related. Now, if you do that with the Pleiades, for example, or the Pleiades, you can see that they're all very, very similar because they were made from the same gas nebula cloud, and the sun's sister stars have long since drifted away, but they are still out there, and we think we found one not all that long ago, but it's miles and miles and miles and miles. Metallicity, that's I'm having problems with that tonight, can't say it. There's Dav Hope down there, that's awesome. So let's get on the ground. It's a nice flat space. We won't be doing any logging tonight, respawning to get materials, but a quick drive around never hurts anybody, does it? So let's pop down there. That's quite cool. Yeah, it gives me an opportunity to do something else which I wanted to do as well. So this is cool. So I'm going to just try and park near the edge. That's very cool. Thank you for the guidance down there. Much appreciated. Nice to see so many ships buzzing around as well. It's really cool. So yeah, and these nebulas are slowly used up as a sort of part of star formation, and that means I've sort of got suitable terrain. It's a bit of a tilt though. Yeah. Never mind. There we go. I hate it when it does that. It's a bit flatter over there. There we go. Oh, come on. Give me a break. very irritating. Yay! Finally. So apologies for those of you not in instances and stuff, because that's a pain which we'll try and deal with. Scarab, I think we'll take Scarab 2 for a run tonight. Scarab 2 hardly ever gets used because. So anyway, so here we go on the surface. So awesome. If you've got an SRV, do join us, and we'll just have a little buzz around here. Ooh, what's going on? Why is my SRV? Oh, hang on, my throttle controls backwards for some reason. What's happening there? Does anybody else find that their keybinds occasionally just subtly go wrong? Haven't changed anything. Where is it? Driving, throttle. It's gone backwards. I don't know what that is. There we go. Let me start now. Now. My left and right. It's my bank. That's weird. I haven't used my SRV for a while. Every so often I find this happens. It just goes a bit weird. Driving. Right. Drive assist. Steering axis. Invert. I don't know about the roll axis. Hopefully that's okay. I wasn't planning to do any jumping around. Right. Let's get. Here we go, we're moving in. Right, so there's my ship and a few other bits and pieces. So let's just get over to the entrance. Not too fast, my ship doesn't like it. Somebody has parked in the entrance, I see. Well done. Dav's Hope, of course, is a jolly useful place to be getting engineering materials and stuff. Who's parked right there? Who's this? Commander Burt Jello, well done, sir. That's a very classy piece of driving. So, of course, what you do is you drive around here. It's probably all been done because there's people here. But right, so what we need to do while we're here, okay, so if you are here in the instance with me again, it's time for another small musical interlude. Now, very sadly, in the in the news in the last week has been the death, the passing away very sadly of Sean Connery. So there's a small Sean Connery theme to tonight, in kind of memory of a fantastic actor, and certainly my favourite. One of my favourite actors, and enjoyed many of his films, in all sorts of different roles. So I think it's only appropriate that we do play a little bit of homage to dear Sean Connery. So if you can form up behind me, we'll have a little run round Dav's Hope in order in memory of Sean. So this is to do with. To do with Sean, bless him. So off we go. So no, not Sardos. Perhaps not his best film. Interesting one, but so there we go. Right. So anyway, here we go. Okay. So we're gonna be driving around to this one. Maximum copyright infringement this year. There's a very large anaconda up there. Oh, stuck. Wish I had an ejector seat. Wouldn't that be awesome? Like the green ship there. Looking good. There we go. Farewell, Sean Connery. Much missed. Much missed. My favourite film with him actually was The Name of the Rose. Did anybody see The Name of the Rose? Sean Connery film, quite a long time ago now. Was it William of Baskerville? So yeah, Kelly Bagwell might be on the right. I think, is that right? William of Baskerville, is that the Name of the Rose? And my favourite line in any film ever, okay, comes from that. From The Name of the Rose, which is when he figures out the mystery. I don't want to spoil it because it's a great film. That's right, based on Umberto Eco's book. Sean Connery just sort of straightens up, grabs some scrolls, and goes, "I demand you grant me access to the library." It's the only time in anything ever where a library has been called. Demand you grant me access to the library. That's just like yes. That's really, really cool. In fact, I think I've even got. Here it is. So there we go. Look. Up on my bookshelf, just to show you that I am occasionally vaguely cultured as well. There you go. There is the book. Umberto Eco's The Name of the Rose. It is. It's actually a really hard book to read. It's one of those rare occasions, I think, that it is worth watching the film first, because the film is kind of an abbreviation of the book. The book is really rather hard to read. Umberto Eco's, I've got to pronounce that right, Umberto Eco, I think it is, book is, he's quite hard going, but it's worth a read. But I would definitely recommend you reading the film first, okay? So do bear that one in mind. Foucault's Pension, you've got that as well. Yeah, look. This one. that one is hard going. All right. Foucault's Pension. Yeah. Yep. That's the advanced topics. Okay. So. If you like heavy reading, I can definitely recommend those. But those are they are pretty heavy duty. Okay, they're pretty heavy duty. But The Name of the Rose, great film, Sean Connery. Lots of other good stuff. So obviously, Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, Time Bandits, of course. Yeah, Time Bandits was great. Red October, some absolutely fascinating, fantastic stuff. So that's all good. So. That's what I'm going to say if we ever find a significant Guardian database. Excellent. What makes it such a difficult read? It's just heavy. Okay, it's the language. It's quite highbrow. Highbrow is how I would describe it. It's worth a go, but do brace yourself for a heavy read. Okay. Goldfinger, yes. Some good bits and pieces in there, but anyway. We must get on. Time is moving. We've got places to go. So anybody who is here in an SRV, and I can see quite a few of you, back to your ships, my friends. Back to your ships, because we've got more stuff to do. We'll go back in our ships. We need to move on to the Pleiades. So off we go. Lovely to see so many of you on the stream. Why is my ship not moving? There we go. Right. And where is my ship? I think mine's a sort of salmony pink colour. So where did I park it? There it is, over there at the back. With the lights on. I always leave my lights on. So I know where I parked my ship. So that's cool. But again, fantastic to see so many of you in the instruments as well. It's really, really good. Thanks for all the new follows, by the way. I think I've probably been missing a few along the way, so apologies for that. It's quite difficult to keep track of everything when you're doing this. But I do appreciate all the follows, because I'm the 9th most popular dangerous streamer, don't you know? Which I was like, what, really? But that's all thanks to you guys. It's all thanks to you guys. We're here to have fun. We don't take it too seriously. That's what I quite like about this. Right, am I in the right place to go up? No. Yes. Yes. Board ship. There we go. Right. So onwards we go. Be amazing if I get hyper. Now I did. I think didn't I get hyper? I got hyper addicted on stream once. I think. It would be fun if it happens. We'll have to wait and see. So anyway, let's continue on. So we are now heading to the Maya system. I just pressed the wrong button there. Maya. There we go. So a little bit further out. Now we're heading to the Pleiades. Now the Pleiades, as you know, is steeped in lore for Elite Dangerous, of course. Yeah. So Maya with an I, not a Y. So there we go. I'll just type that in the chat. There we go. That's where we're heading next. And we'll take off and see how we go. Oh, I think there was there's a ship above me. Is there somebody? There's somebody above my ship. There we go, making out the way. We need to... See, this bit always strikes me as not very realistic. All these ships banging and crashing into each other. It's should be some kind of traffic control, shouldn't they? But anyway, so let's get on our way to Maya. Off we go. Not Maya from Space 1999. We did the music. I think I did the music to Space 1999 once. I think I've got that one done. So yeah, it's a bit bumper cars. Yeah, in the chat there and in the game, definitely a bit bumper cars. Yeah, outrageous. It's outrageous. No control in space. It's Wild West. Yep. So just start talking about the club and the dark wheel. I'll get hyper. Yes, that definitely became a thing, didn't it? On the lore tour, I was forever getting sorts of weird problems, both in game and out of game. Whenever I started talking about top secrety stuff, and my PC would crash and the power would go out, and the game would do funny things. So yeah, very strange. Right, is that? Look at that. Well, that's it. Now this I find a slightly interesting little bug is that you can't hyperspace to things when they're below the horizon. But if you get a planet like this, where you can sorry, I just meant to reverse there. Where you can get a mountain that's above the plane of the planet, you can hyperspace through a mountain. So I'm going to do exactly that because you can, right? So why is my what's the name? There we go. Look. So I am going to charge my hyperspace drive and fly straight through this mountain. Where do we meet in Maya? We'll figure that out when you get there. I can't remember exactly what's in Maya. We'll probably hop around the Pleiades a little bit anyway. So look, you can hyperspace through a mountain, as I'm going to prove. Boom. I don't know what that does to the surface of the planet. It'd be funny if we could go back there and then there'd be this tube. A massive hole drilled straight through the planet. Who knows, maybe that's a way to secret locations, but yeah, maybe creating a wormhole through something. Who knows? Who knows? What you may or may not be able to do with that. Salty Singularity says, once again, Commander, it's great to see you. Oh, always a pleasure, always a pleasure. Now, we can actually see the Pleiades there in the background. And just while I'm on the way there, Wimbledon Common is in the Mars system near Obsidian Orbital. Awesome. Obsidian Orbital, of course, named after the famous YouTuber Obsidian Ant. Who's got his voice, actually, I think. Either in the... I don't think it's the docking request system, but I think his voice is on the inside, which is quite good. So that's nice as well. Now, let me just fire up a browser, because the Pleiades... Let me just pop it down there. The Pleiades, from Earth, in a telescope, looks like this. So let's choose a nice... That one's okay. Let's get a... We have a decent sized image. That will do. There we go. So that's what they look like from Earth through a telescope through a long exposure. Okay, and there's all this sort of wispy stuff. Now, some astronomers will say that this wispy stuff is the remains of the nebula out of which the Pleiades were born. Other astronomers will say, no, that's just a coincidence, and it's just some gas and dust being lit up by the stars that just happens to be close by. Nobody's entirely sure. It could be that this is the remains of the nebula that form the Pleiades, or not. Those are the two options, and astronomers are arguing about that at the moment. Some say it is, and some say it isn't. I kind of rather hope that it is. I'm not an expert enough either way to tell. It's something to do with velocity measurements of the gas and the distance and various other bits and pieces. It could be a line of sight phenomena, not actually the nebula in which the stars are estimated in. So bear in mind that Elite Dangerous is based on the astronomical knowledge that was correct at the time it was made. So that is now a few years out of date, and a few things aren't actually quite accurate based on astronomy moves on, the folks around here do try and keep things up to date, but there's so many discoveries they can't do everything. So who knows whether or not actually the nebula that we can see here is actually the real thing or not. But I rather like to hope it is, because I think that kind of looks pretty, and it's quite nice. The velocity of an unladen nebula. What do you mean, Pleiades or Hyades? Yeah. Anyway, so you can sort of see it there in the background, and as we jump closer, it'll become nicer and nicer. Edie should move on. Well, there's a lot of galaxy out there, isn't there, to keep up to date with, and there's one guy. I've got to give him a shout out, Paul Michael Brooks, who basically downloaded, I think, every sort of star chart, star catalogue that there was, and there are several different competing, overlapping star catalogues, which is why you see in Elite Dangerous some of the naming conventions are a bit strange, where some planets will have a name that you expect and some planets won't. And that's because Michael Brooks had to kind of concatenate all of that information into a massive Excel spreadsheet, and then import it into the Stellar Forge, which is the piece of software that creates the universe in Elite Dangerous. And I was kind of doing writing and lorry things with Elite Dangerous at the time, and I kept having to ask Michael Brooks, so where's this star chart then? Where's this star map? And he would always say, it's coming. And I kept asking, week after week, so where's the star chart? Is it ready yet? He says, it's coming. And it got to a point where if he sort of threatened that if I asked where the star chart was again, then I would be excommunicated from Elite Dangerous forever. So at that point I had to shut up and wait until it became soon, which of course is frontier code for not yet. But eventually the star map did arrive, and it was incorporated into Elite Dangerous, and we can still see it today. So you can thank dear Michael Brooks for the fact that the Elite Dangerous galaxy is as realistic as it is, because it's one of the biggest achievements I think in the game is that the galaxy is well represented. Certainly the bits that we're in at the moment, close to home, are as accurate as it's possibly quite possible to make them. Space Engine is very good at this as well, but Elite Dangerous does a very good job of some of this. Some of the exposures are a bit weird, as you can see. So as we get close here to the Pleiades, you'll see we'll jump into. I think we're going into one actually. Stereope is one of the Pleiades, I think it's 150 to 180,000 real stars that are imported into Elite Dangerous, and the rest is sort of procedurally generated. So here we are, boom, there we go, right outside. These are massive hot blue stars. So the Pleiades from the Earth are really pretty bunch of pretty little stars in the sky. Actually, they're massive stars, really powerful and bright. So there we go. And now we're in the midst of the nebula, and we can see a few of the others around. Now there are a few things we can see here that the other bits and pieces that are going. So let's get across to the Maya system. And we're sort of in the midst of the nebula. Now, there's an example over there. I'm just going to pan away for a moment. There's an example over there where the exposure in Elite Dangerous is a bit weird. So that is the direction of the Orion Nebula. We'll be going over there as well. And you can see the Flame Nebula as well in the background. Now you can also see that curve around it, which is Barnard's Loop. Now Barnard's Loop is really, really faint. Okay, really, really faint. You can't see it with the naked eye from Earth, and you wouldn't be able to see it with the naked eye from here either. It's incredibly faint. You need a really long exposure photograph to be able to see it. Whereas the Orion Nebula is a naked eye object, which you would be quite able to see at this range. So there are a few liberties being taken. I think what's happened there is either David Braben or Michael Brooks are big fans of Barnard's Loop, so they wanted to make it visible. Commander No Headphones got interdicted by Thargoid, so apologies for Thargoid interdictions that are happening along the way. It's an occupational hazard with visiting the Pleiades. Hasn't got me yet, so there's a few other commanders here, which is good. So there we are. So let me right. Where are we going to hang around? So we have other fleet carriers here. What's actually in the system? I forget. Lots of so crazy amounts of stuff. Crazy amounts of stuff going on. Now there's the Tanilorn. Now I haven't been to the Tanilorn for a while, so let's visit the Tanilorn. Now Tanilorn is named after. Now I'm just trying to remember. I haven't read My Michael Moorcock for many years, probably over a decade or two. So Tanilorn is what? Is it a land or a person? I forget. I forget My Michael Moorcock. I know it's a Michael Moorcock reference. Burnt Jello got interdicted by 4. Oh dear, not good. So apologies for that. Let's head to the Tanilorn fleet carrier. So it's a city. I can't remember. Now that happens quite a long time after. Quite a long time after the Hawkmoon stuff, because there's the Chronicles of Castle Brass, which is the first 4 books. Then there's the is that right? I'm just trying to remember. It's very well. Bad Mike says it's the Eternal City, forever out of reach, home of the heroes, Tanilorn. Okay, it's must admit I haven't read those books for a long time. I'm gonna have to reread them again now. I've sort of thought about them. But definitely worth it. Now Michael Moorcock is his fantasy books are very interesting actually. I was quite taken with them when I was younger. I haven't read them for a while since. I hope they still stand up to slightly older reading, and I think they will, because it was Michael Moorcock embraces a sort of multiverse approach to his storytelling, whereas all of his novels share characteristics, but they're kind of viewed through lenses of different multiverse perspectives, which is a very clever storytelling technique. He's very, very different. I mean, and I wouldn't really. I mean, his books are sort of fantasy, but they're sort of not. It's quite hard to describe you. Quite hard to describe what genre he's actually in, and I don't think he actually is in a genre, which actually rather appeals to me, because I don't like writing to genres either. And his books are, sort of set in a futuristic version of the world in some cases, but they are, but they have a sort of medieval feel to them as well. So they're quite hard to categorise. Any one of his books where to start? I think I would probably recommend the Chronicles of Castle Brass. There are 4 books I think in that series, which I think starts with Hawkmoon, and I can't remember the order of them after that. Maybe Bad Micah can do that recommend. I haven't done this for quite a while. This is going to make quite a nice screeny here if we put the Tanilorn in front of that beautiful gas giant. Let's do that. There we go. Look at that. That looks amazing. That looks like a scene from a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? All right. So if you want to form up in front of me, I shall turn my thrusters off. There we go. And just zoom out a bit. There we go. Look at that. That looks really cool. So if you are in my instance, you can join the screeny there. That'd be right cool. Hawkmoon is a good place to start. Yeah, great story. So Bad Michael, I'd recommend if you can find Hawkmoon. Hawkmoon is the first book of a 4-book series, which is I know the third book is called The Sword of Dawn. I'm just trying to remember the others now. But there's basically a series of 4. Hawkmoon is the first one. The Sword of Dawn is the third. And there are 2 others which I can't remember the name of. I would start there to see if you like his writing style. The first book is a little bit slow from what I recall, but it really gets going in books 2, 3, and 4. They're not very long, so you'll be able to zap through them fairly quick. And then if you like them, then you can move into some of the others. Did somebody just bash my ship? What happened there? That's just a funny thing. You can't fly your camera through a ship, can you? I don't quite know why that is. There we go. Got lots of ships here. There we are. So let's see if I can get behind the camera. There we go. That's looking quite cool. Always nice to see all the ships. There we go. Look at that. That looks very good. So anyway, so there's the Tanny Lawn. So do check that out. It's really, really good. Now we're in the Pleiades. Now the Pleiades is interesting, apart from the Thargoids. In Elite Dangerous, the Pleiades star cluster is much younger than the Hyades one. So if you think of stars being born, in a nebula, so the Orion Nebula, which hopefully we'll be able to get to as well, is a place where stars are being born right now. That's actually happening today. So that's where stars get born. The Pleiades, if the nebula in which we're sort of sitting, hopefully now, is actually the nebula out of which the Pleiades stars were born. They're sort of young stars, sort of like teenage stars, kind of all hanging around together, doing stuff together. And then they get to sort of, the Hyades are the sort of young adult sort of stars where they're beginning to move off and do their own thing. And then they get, stars like our sun are kind of middle-aged and doing their own thing entirely. And stars like Aldebaran, where we started this evening, are kind of the senile ones about to go bang at the end of their lives. And Betelgeuse is kind of in a similar category. So there we go. The Mad God Amulet, that's right, mere mortal, well done. So definitely Hawkmoon, Mad God's Amulet, the Sword of the Dawn, and the 4th one. The Rune Staff, that's it, yay, well done. Got there in the end. I haven't read those for years. I'm going to have to go and dig them out. I must have them in my bookcase somewhere. So whoever's flying that Cobra, can you do my OCD a favour and fly the right way up? Yay! I know there's no up or down in space, but that was bugging me. So well done. That's really good. I think we're all going to probably start rolling over now just to wind me up, but there we go. Never mind. But yeah, so so these are Aussie. Oh, that was you, Aussie. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. So the Pleiades, that finishes off Taurus, which is quite nice. And but it's a young star cluster. All the stars are pretty young, and as such, it's in slightly funny place for the Thargoids to be hanging out, because they certainly wouldn't have evolved here in the Pleiades, because the Pleiades stars are too young. They haven't been around that long, and they're certainly not a base for the Thargoids being a long-lived species. They've been in space for a long time, millions of years. Because they date back at least to the realm of the Guardians, and possibly long before that. So they've been in space a long time. So the Thargoids are very unlikely to come from the Pleiades system, because there hasn't been enough time here for any life form to have evolved around these stars. They're too young. So obviously we still don't know where the Thargoids come from. But anyway, there's little side bits. Now, while we're here, back to GalNet for a bit. The Thargoids put the Pleiades here, yeah. Maybe they did. Spooky stuff. Right, let's go and have a look at GalNet, because this is what's going on right now. So in the last week, we have... so Hadrian Duval was saved by Aisling Duval's intervention. Well, yeah, okay. Princess Aisling Duval has provided life-saving aid to Emperor Hadrian Augustus Duval, who was severely wounded by the NMLA terrorists. More assassination attempts. Nobody seems to do anything but assassination attempts in the Dangerous Universe. So he nearly got killed, but he received advanced treatment. Anyway, Ashley Duval told the Imperial House, "I recently lost one member of my family to these extremism and was about to lose another. Regardless of politics, Hadrian is my cousin, and there are precious few Duvals left alive." Well, that's interesting too. I'm confident our Imperator will survive. We do appreciate Her Highness's assistance. So actually, this is it remains a mystery how the NMLA could come so close as seen by my investigation could do. So this is showing quite a lack of faith. There's some schisms here in the elite imperial hierarchy. So unorthodox intervention has drawn both criticism and praise from senators and public alike. So interesting stuff. So anyway, so there's a few splits appearing there in the imperial space. Now then we get Federation accused of supporting the NMLA. So the Empire has revealed new evidence that suggests the NMLA terrorist group may be receiving help from elements within the Federation. So somebody therefore in the Empire is rumbling for a war. A report from the Imperial Internal Security Service stated with the information provided by the engineer Liz Ryder, under somewhat duress I would say, we located an abandoned workshop where explosives have been constructed using her blueprints, and traces were found of Thargoid caustic enzymes matching the payloads discovered during the Starport bombing. So that's being investigated. The Federation, not surprisingly, comes back with the suggestion that we're responsible is laughable. As with their persecution of Marlins, there's no excuse for inability to solve their own problems. So the Federation kind of poo-poos that. And the Imperial comes back. The NMLA has the Federation's support to destabilise the Empire and promote Republican propaganda. If true, there will be severe consequences. Ooh, so that's actually if that's an interesting thing for an Imperial ambassador to say. Okay, so Imperial ambassadors are there to kind of promote communication. So it's slightly guarded, if true. But for an Imperial ambassador to say, if true, there will be severe consequences, that really is a bit of a threat. Federal systems are struggling to cope with an influx of refugees in various systems as well. So that's what used to be called in the old days saber rattling. It's like we're kind of warming up here. And then it appears now is this war, or is this a border skirmish? It's basically the Pilots Federation that the Empire's counter-terrorism operation in the solar system has triggered armed resistance from the Federation. So the IISS go into LTT 1935. This is an interesting turn of phrase. When I read this earlier on, I was like, what does that mean? A Federation-controlled system in neutral space. A Federation-controlled system in neutral space. Isn't that a Federation system? So I'm not quite sure a Federation-controlled system in neutral space is. Is that neutral space, i.e. independent stroke anarchic, or is it do they mean contested space perhaps between the Federation and the Empire? I'm not quite sure what that is. What does this actually say in game? Let's just have a quick look. Get out there. Let's just have a quick look. LTT. Which is way back over there. Okay, so there's community goal we know, but let's just have a quick look. What is it? It's a Federation system. It's not a neutral system. So that's not quite written right, I think. But anyway, where's my ship moving? I'm drifting again. Is that me or was that? There we go. I've got two Imperial couriers sitting on top of me. Cool. Right, so back to my browser. Where are we? So that's a bit weird. So it's actually a Federation system. So military vessels are called to support. Now, for the Imperial to go into LTT 1935, then it's strictly speaking aggressive. Okay, it's not in neutral space. It's a Federation system. Military vessels were called in for support only to be met in combat by Federal forces. Well, I think, to be fair, the Federation. Maybe in the law it's neutral, yeah. So, but however, to me, I think the federal forces are justified there, if it's a federation-controlled system. Declaration was made by Colonel Ernst of the Confederacy. The Empire cannot dominate and arrest our citizens as they did with the Monarchs. We claim the right to defend the Federation's territory from such. To be honest, I think that's justified. The ISS has confirmed that the Neo-Monarchs have secret bomb-making systems concealed in this system to prevent future atrocities. Vitally take control of the system and shut down their source of weapons. So the Empire's perceived a threat, and this is where the weapons came from. And the Federation is quite keen to defend this, which could mean that they're just defending their own territory, or it could mean that they are actually behind the bombings and they want to be found out. So that's quite interesting. It's not quite a war. This is like almost a little bit of a proxy conflict. But it could be the Federation's got something to hide here. But the Imperial forces are a little bit out of their jurisdiction by going in there and prodding around. So everybody's not quite happy, I would say. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that one. So if I think that's the CG there, isn't it? So for those of you who are into mucking about with CGs, I think that one's going to be rather interesting. So and of course, if you want to be on the side of the right and the good, then obviously join the Empire, and keep the Federation scum out of the system. That would be my recommendation. But yes, it's a bit of saber rattling, a bit of a demonstration, but it could have some interesting ramifications. So I would definitely get stuck into that one if you've got a bit of time. So yes, it's lovely to see GalNet doing stuff. Yes, all hail the Emperor, Bask, and all hail indeed, Huzzah, Fujin Tea. The weapons of mass destruction. Who knows what's going on? Right. So. Let's continue on, because we're going to move on from Taurus now. We're going to be moving to the Orion constellation. So again, let me just go back to my trusty planetarium, and we'll move on. Someone in FD has been watching too much Next Gen. Yes, there are quite a lot of assassinations and things going on. Right, so here, actually, and as you see, because we've been playing the game for an hour, time has moved on, which is quite nice. So we're currently up here in the Pleiades, and here is the constellation of Orion. Now, I'm just going to speed time up here, by the way. For those of you who are wondering what I'm using here, this is Stellarium, which is a fantastic free piece of astronomy software. If you want to download it, it's available for all sorts of operating systems, and it's really rather good. I use it a lot. You can get all clever and sophisticated with it and control telescopes and stuff, but you can just put it on your PC and on your phone actually, and use it to look around and identify things. It's a really nice piece of software. So I definitely recommend that. So we're up here right now. This is the Pleiades as seen from Earth. We're going to be going to Betelgeuse next. So we're going to travel from there to there across the night sky. This is where we started this evening. We've gone up there and going back there. Now actually, Aldebaran is quite close to the Earth, as you can see. The distance is about 66 light years. So there we go. The Pleiades, by the way, we are now 400 light years away from the Earth. And Betelgeuse is even further, so about 496-ish. We're not quite sure. We mustn't say so. Don't say that one more time, Sidewinder, or there'll be trouble. So Betelgeuse is a fair. Now Betelgeuse has been in the press a bit over the last years, and we'll talk about that on the way there. So set course for Betelgeuse, my friends. If I can get out of this Clipper copulation that's going on. Not Clipper, Courier, there we are. And yeah, it appears to be, it's closer and smaller than we thought. So one of the things that's interesting, all these, all the star information that you can get from Wikipedia and all these different programs says it's, it's this far away, and this is exactly, the distance it is. It is only a guess, all right? It's only a guess. it's an informed guess, but a lot of those distances are not set in stone. So we find better ways of measuring things as we go along. So there's all sorts of stuff. I've got something popped up there. What have I got? Friend request. I better go and sort that out. Hang on a minute. So there we go. Betelgeuse. Or some people call it Betelgeuse. I don't know. That just sounds wrong to me. I like Betelgeuse. So we are heading out. It is a little bit of a way. So for those of you who are don't have such long distance ships, it's going to be a little bit more of a trek. It might be worth. I noticed one of the fleet carriers there is departing to it. So if you're here and you'd like to jump on the Tanny-Lawn, that will take you to Betelgeuse without you having to worry about the jumping. So thank you very much for the Tanny-Lawn. I don't know if any of the other fleet carriers are heading to Betelgeuse, but the Tanny-Lawn certainly is. So if you want to dock on the Tanny-Lawn, it will take you there directly. And the rest of us will fly there directly. Now I'm still racking up exploration points, so there we go. And off we go to the Pleiades. So yeah, here we go. How many jumps is it for me? It's not going to be too much. 5 jumps. So that won't take me too long. Let's get there. I've heard somebody pronounce it Betelgeuse. Yeah, Betelgeuse and Betelgeuse. There's all sorts of weird. I'm not sure what is correct with a hard G. And Wimbledon Common is due to depart. So if you want to go on the Wimbledon Common, you can. If you want to go on the Tanny-Lawn, you can as well. So fleet carriers heading in that direction. Thank you very much for the fleet carriers offering jump services to commanders. Very appreciative of flying around there. So again, tracing out constellations. So we've done Taurus, and now we're heading into the Orion environment as well. So that's going to be quite cool. Now, Betelgeuse was in the press quite a lot over the last year, because this time last year, astronomers were watching it, noticing that it was fading. It is, I think, I can't remember exactly what number, and it may not be back to full brightness yet, but I think it's the 7th or 8th brightest star in the sky, something like that. Somebody will know. Motorbike, will we be visiting VY Canis Majoris during tour? Yes, it is on the list, definitely. Sophia's got hyperdicted again. So Betelgeuse was fading. Now Betelgeuse is a star that is, we believe, to be near the end of its life. It's in a massive red giant phase, and it's huge in comparison to the its diameter is huge in comparison to the sun, and it's giving all the indications of being quite unstable. I'm kind of a bit annoyed now. I haven't been hyperdicted. That would have been quite cool, but I think I'm too far out of range now. Never mind. What can you do? I've definitely been hyperdicted on stream once before, which was quite cool. But anyway, we'll head off. You can see Betelgeuse there, actually, off to the right. But Betelgeuse is, we believe, near the end of its life. Now, it could go supernova. Basically, a supernova is when a star, a big star, runs out of fuel. Most stars are fusing hydrogen into helium, and that's what gives them the energy. That's what the sun is doing right now. After a while, they run out of hydrogen, and they start, in simple terms, they run out of hydrogen. They start fusing the next element up. In that case, is helium. And that doesn't last for very long, and then they fuse helium into. What's the next element up? I've forgotten now. Is it lithium? I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, it sort of keeps going up the periodic table for a bit, fusing the element it's currently got into the next heavier element that can be made, until it reaches. I think, and it goes through. Is it carbon and then oxygen? And it goes through a whole series of elements, and eventually it hits iron. And that is sort of the end of the road for a star. When you fuse iron, you don't get a net energy increase. You get a decrease. So the moment the star gets to the point just before iron and starts fusing iron, at that point, the outward pressure of the fusion reaction that is keeping the star inflated suddenly vanishes, and it vanishes within a fraction of a second. It's that fast. And the gravity of all the material in the star that's being inflated by the fusion reaction switches off in a fraction of a second, and the star collapses. It basically implodes. And during those massive pressures that are generated in that implosion, all the other elements beyond iron are fused. So everything like gold and silver and platinum and all the precious metals and heavy metals and all the more exotic elements are fused during those few brief milliseconds of implosion. And of course, what happens following the implosion is the star effectively then explodes, and that's the supernova. Okay, and that in that moment of time, the star literally blows itself to pieces, and along with any planets that are in the vicinity. So stars really are alchemists. In the center of supernova is where everything complex is forged. So I'm just going to jump into the Betelgeuse system now, and Betelgeuse may go supernova at some point. It seems to be, from what we can tell, near the end of its life. It's the only star from Earth that we can actually make out its shape, and it's not a sphere, as Sophia correctly points out. Commander Kelvinator, it's not a sphere. It's a distended blob of weirdness, and it may go supernova tomorrow. Now, if it is, as we can see here, it doesn't really look like this. This is a beautiful round sphere. But you can see how big it is. I'm not in fuel scooping range yet. There's the fuel scoop coming on. So I'm now in fuel scooping range. I'm just going to slow down a bit, just to kind of give you. Now, some of you already know this, but and this is by no means the biggest star. Okay, no means the biggest star. Let's just refuel one of here. There we go. The fuel. Now, if I pull up and just focus on Betelgeuse, we are 2,152 light seconds away from the star, and we're in fuel scooping range. Okay, so to put that into perspective, I don't know what the diameter of the Betelgeuse is, but anyway, so I'm just going to do 93 million miles in light seconds. Is 400, so let's say 500, okay? So 93 million miles, which is the distance from the Earth to the Sun, is 500 light seconds, okay? Betelgeuse, as you can see here, is filling the screen of my ship, okay, at a range of 2,000 light seconds. That shows you how big this star is, okay? It's just phenomenally huge. Okay, so quite a bit of our solar system would fit inside Betelgeuse with plenty of room to spare. Okay, I think the orbits of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are completely gone in terms of Betelgeuse, and I think even Jupiter would be hard pressed to be outside. Betelgeuse outer boundary. So it's a massive star, and it could be about to go bang. It could be about to supernova. Now, if it went supernova today, we wouldn't know for 400, 500 light years, because it would take that long for the light of the explosion to reach us, which is one of the weird things about space, is you're always looking into the past when you look up into the night sky. But if it went supernova 500 years ago, the light would be reaching us about now. We'd see this enormous thing in the sky. Well, actually, it wouldn't be enormous. It would be a point of light. It would be incredibly bright. They think they've worked out that if Betelgeuse did go supernova, the amount of light it would be providing to the Earth would be about equivalent to the light of a full moon. Now, you may think, well, that's not all that bright, but you've got to concentrate all the light of a full moon down to a point. So it would be a pinpoint of intense brightness. It would really be quite spectacular. And particularly in the winter time here in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, and 6 months opposite, there'd be all sorts of amazing kind of atmospheric effects around it as well, which would make it look really, really cool. You'd be able to see it in the daylight as this amazingly bright point of light, and it would last about a month before it slowly faded away and then disappeared. We wouldn't be able to see it after that. Visually, it would fade away virtually to nothing from our perspective because it's so far away. But in that month, it would be releasing prodigious amounts of energy, really, really quite scary amount. And it's just a cool place. Now, during about this time last year, Betelgeuse suddenly went from about the 8th brightest star in the sky, and it started dropping away quite noticeably. It went fainter and fainter and fainter over a period of a few months. And astronomers began to go, well, a few astronomers, and certainly the popular press, began to go, oh my God, it's going to go bang. And it turned out, we think, that it ejected a huge amount of dust from its outer layers, which temporarily dimmed the star from our perspective, because it's returned to its normal brightness again, and the dust is either dispersed or orbited away from our perspective. So we don't know exactly what happened, but that's the working theory at the moment, that it expelled a huge amount of dust which dimmed its outer layers. And again, it may go supernova tomorrow, but it's probably unlikely. But it's more likely we've got there's tens of thousands of years left, but who knows? It's definitely a star that's on its last legs, as it were. And it's one of those places that is worth watching, and it's worth looking up into the night sky. There's no danger to us from Betelgeuse at that distance, but it would certainly be a spectacular thing to see. So that's a star that's kind of really at the end of its life. Now, what I want to do is the final stop for this evening. I want to travel across to the opposite side of the constellation of Orion. Okay. So if the fleet carriers are able to do one more jump, what I'd like to do is head to Rigel. So we're currently there at the moment. I'd like to go here. Rigel is a little bit further away, and I don't know if the fleet carriers will be able to get there by the end of the stream or not. But Rigel is where I'd like to end up today. At the opposite side of the constellation of Orion, and Rigel is a very different type of star. So let's head on over there, and we'll see what we can get to over there. So that's Betelgeuse, and we will head on over there. It's almost always just dust. The universe is so boring. It is a problem sometimes. So there we go. Let's go to Rigel. It is a bit further out. So we are now beginning to travel quite a long old way. So that's 421 light years from where we are today. How many jumps is that? So it's 8 jumps for me. For those of you with exploration ships, hopefully you can make it. And we will see you there. So we'll say goodbye to Rigel. So even there at 52 times the speed of light, it's taking a while for that massive star to get past the view screens. Dragonite says, my poor Cobra is getting a wear and tear out of this journey. It's good to stretch your legs sometimes. There we go. BJH13 says, what's the furthest you've been in the game? The furthest I've been is Beagle Point. So I have that's the furthest I've been, which was at the time I went there the furthest reachable system you could get away from Sol. I think that was pre-engineering. I think that was Distant Worlds 1. We went out there, and at the time that was the furthest you could go. Now I think that's no longer the case. You can go further. Because we've now got engineering and different ships and different drives and frameshift drive boosters and stuff like that. So Beagle Point, the edge of exploration has kind of moved past it. But that is, how far away is Beagle Point? I can't remember. Let me have a quick look on the galaxy map. Oh, it's way over there. There we go. Beagle Point is over there. How far away is it? Well, from here it is 65,000 light years away. So that's a fair old way, to be fair. It's a long old route. Okay, out there. And we went out there. I went out there in a Cobra Mark III. Can you believe? That was a long time ago. Cobra Mark III. I took on my first Distant Worlds. Distant Worlds 2. I was using an ASP, I think, at the time. I don't think the Crate Phantom was available back then, was it? And Distant Worlds 3, I know, is in the vague planning stages at the moment. So it will. I'll probably be using a Crate Phantom again for that one. Probably this ship. Possibly slightly different one. We'll see how it goes. So yes, Beagle Point, supposed to be named after the famous explorer, but I think you're quite correct. It got somebody's pet dog. It's the way things happen in the Dangerous universe. DW, I was in the Crate Phantom. Was I? Okay, that's right. Yes, I was. Yes, good point. I'm getting confused now, man. What did I use my ASP for then? I have to remember. There we go. But anyway, we're now tracing a path across the constellation of Orion, and we'll get to Rigel in a bit. Don't forget to honk either. Make sure you're picking up that exploration data. And you can see again Barnard's Loop there in the background. Now Barnard's Loop is probably a supernova remnant. So you can see that it's got that curving shape there just before we hyperspace, which sort of implies there's maybe a star in the middle that went supernova quite a long time ago, and that's the expanding shell of debris from it. And it's potentially caused shock waves in the rest of the stellar medium as well, which is why some of that sort of shape appears. So there's also some interesting things like that. This is quite a nice part of space because there's quite a lot of nebulas about here. There are also quite a lot of permit-locked regions because we're not far now from the Col 70 sector, which got locked down early, I think in the year 2015, from what I call 2015, 2016, the Col 70 locks got put in place. I think we can get to Rigel. It's certainly plotting me a map, but we're getting quite close to those permit-locked sectors. So we're going to have to do some clever route plotting for next week's thing to try and visit the places we want to get to, which is quite fun. We can sort of explore the edges of the permit locks. Now the Col 70 region was locked, I think, in 2015, 2016. Because I went on a tour of this part of space about 6 months before, and I've got lots of screenshots of some of the systems around the Horsehead Nebula and the Orion Nebula, which I went out there in Imperial Clipper, I think, and so I've got all these lovely pictures, and you can't go there anymore. At least some of the pictures I took, some of the places I went to, you're not allowed there anymore, which is a bit of a shame. So I had some of the earlier players of Elite Dangerous got some quite good screenies of places which are now off limits, and for reasons that have never been fully explained. Quite why the Col 70 sector was locked off. I've got some information about them which is now quite old, but unfortunately it's under NDA, so I can't tell you what it is, which I know is a bit of a tease, so apologies for that. But it's never come up in GalNet, and it's never come up as being revealed in the lore. So and my standing rule is if it hasn't been revealed in the game, then I'm not allowed to talk about it. And there's a few bits and pieces of lore that fall into that category. Now there were rumours of Thargoids being involved out there, but they seem to have concentrated in the Pleiades and obviously later on the Witchhead Nebula. So quite why the Col 70 sector is locked off now is unclear, but something has locked it off, and it just says unknown permit required. And there doesn't seem to be any way to gain that permit, leading to speculation as to who controls the permit locks. Is it, well, obviously it's Frontier, but in the lore, who controls the permit locks? Is it the Pilots Federation, or is it something else going on? which is a very good question to which I can't give you an answer. But it's worth speculating on. And then the Witch Head sector is not far from where we are. Commander Kelvinator is in the same instance as me over there, which is great to see. Are we going to the actual Rigel? Yes, we are, Kamakichi. We're going to the actual Rigel. One of the key things about the Astro tour is we must go to the actual places that we're seeing from Earth. That's kind of the point. So we're actually visiting places in Elite Dangerous that are visible from Earth. Oh, it was the audio picture thing. Oh yes, I remember them. Okay, so the audio picture thing is pointed to the Col 70 sector. Ah, okay. I'd forgotten about them. Yep. So proper nuisance, all the permit locking. Hope this storyline is the one that finally unlocks a few. Well, yeah, we never know. Okay, maybe the current storyline will help. So, what's good is you've got, and I've been quite, I mean, I could criticise it, but so can anybody. I think the story that's unfolding now is unfolding at quite a nice pace, and there's a bit of talent behind the pen as well. I don't think it's too bad at all. I'm quite interested in reading the GalNet as it comes out. That's quite good. And the Adamastor mystery, yeah. So that is another one that's ongoing at the moment. I haven't read too much about it. I know there's some. I think it's a megaship that's been found, hasn't it? And there's some weird audio logs on it. So if you haven't dug into that, I don't want to spoil that for you. So go and find out from the forums how to get involved in that one. There's some good stuff to go and listen to there, and it seems to have not quite got some of the previous lore of Elite correct, or maybe it's retconned some of it. There's some good stuff to get involved in there as well. So there's a few little mysteries cropping up in the worlds of Elite again as well. So that's one that's definitely worth investigating. And there we go, Rigel. So this is not as big as Betelgeuse, but here we go. Discovered Rigel. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. Now, how big is it? Or is it bigger? I can't remember. This looks enormous, doesn't it? Right, we're only 10 light seconds away from now this is a blue-white star. We jump in on Rigel B, do we? Okay. Okay, so Rigel, this is... Oh, Rigel B is... Right, this is the more dense one. Okay, so Rigel B... Where's the data? There we are. Class B stars are very luminous blue-white stars. They usually a range in mass from 2 to 16 solar masses and have a surface temperature approaching 300 Kelvin. 30,000 Kelvin. Their lifetimes are shorter than most main sequence stars. So that's burning through its nuclear fuel incredibly fast. So Rigel itself is a Class B white supergiant star which is approaching the end of its life, and hydrogen's burning has stopped in its core. Okay, so the star has begun expanding towards being a red supergiant. So again, incredibly bright, powerful star, but again, near the end of its life. So let's just see if we can... Where is... How far away, more importantly, is B? Just pan my ship around. There it is there. Okay, so it's not very far away. So let's head for Rigel itself. Rigel's end. It was just appointed to the Geo server base. So, yes, it's cooking me. I think I'm okay. I've come out. So Rigel there, the main Rigel star. We'll use that as a rendezvous point. Okay, so interesting there, Glenn says, Rigel is the brightest and most massive component of a star system, at least 4 stars that appear as a single blue-white point of light to the naked eye. Okay, so that's interesting. Whereas in Elite Dangerous, it's only 2. Who knows what's right? Is that Wikipedia? Yeah, only 2 stars here. So interesting, it drops you out at the smaller star because it's the mass that's important for Elite Dangerous. So you can see here, where's the mass? 9 solar masses, and here only 5, but the size of this one is much larger because it's nearing the end of its life. So this is the other end of the Orion constellation. Okay, so announcement. Wimbledon Common will be leaving Betelgeuse to Rigel A in just under 13 minutes. Do I enter the light? Yes, it's a very pretty looking stuff. So we'll rendezvous at whichever fleet carrier gets here first. It might be Wimbledon Common, it might be one of the others. We'll see how it goes. Because we got to do what we normally do, 10 minutes for the absolution. So whichever one gets there first, then we'll use that as the rendezvous point. Because we've got to do, of course, what we normally do, which is our mass hyperspace jump away. So we're in the midst of the Orion constellation. And then we're going to do a bit of a tour across Orion next week, and then into the nebulas, and then some of the distances we're going to be travelling a little bit further as well. Right, yeah, it's possible Rigel could go bang before Betelgeuse, but it hasn't entered its red giant phase yet, so it may take a little while. I'll have to wait and see. Commander Sea Dweller is of course in Betelgeuse because he's going to be moving his fleet carrier towards this destination. So there's Rigel. So it's and for me this is quite nice because I've loved the constellation of Orion since I was a kid. Once I learnt the constellations, and actually for those of you who don't know your constellations, it doesn't take long to learn them if you look up into space. Because it's sort of like a roadmap really of of the stars, and I'm just going to fly through that rather nice little solar flare over there, and you can see some of the graphical limitations of Elite there, can't you? When I rotate the ship, you can see the sprites, but they do look quite nice, once you learn your way around the constellations, they become very familiar landmarks in the sky, and you get used to the fact that you can see the Orion constellation in the winter. The Pleiades sort of always happens in the autumn. You get the summer stars, the summer triangle. You get the spring stars of Leo and things like that. And all of those things become very familiar. And of course, I've been seeing Orion come and go for years because I'm getting old. And what's beautiful about Elite Dangerous again, of course, is that you can go to the places that you've seen in your head. And as a kid, I was always flying around in my mind, in my imagination, saying, I'll fly a spaceship off to Betelgeuse or something. And now in Elite Dangerous, we can do it with a very high degree of kind of graphical fidelity, which is just cool. So for all that I've given Elite a hard time over the years in various different ways, and sometimes probably deservedly, sometimes I've probably been off my trolley a bit, but at the end of the day, it allows us to do that a thing that we've always wanted as people who are fascinated by space, is to go and visit some of the places that are out there. I think I've said it before already this evening, but to be able to look up at Rigel in the night sky tonight, when I go and step outside my house to let the dog out and go, been there. it's just cool. I don't know, it's not real, but this is immersive enough to make you feel like you've actually kind of taken some time out and travelled across the universe, which I think is very cool. Wasted UK says, have you ever been over to the seas to see Australia to the stars? Yes, I've been lucky enough to go to Australia. My sister actually emigrated to Australia over a decade ago, so I've been down to visit her a couple of times. And last time I was there, I got the chance to drive down to the coast with a pair of binoculars, and I got to see some stars that, of course, you can't see from the UK, like Alpha Centauri, which is the closest star to Earth. And it looks no different from any other star in the night sky, of course, just a point of light. But there was something very significant for me in being able to look at Alpha Centauri and go, that is Alpha Centauri. So it was, things like that are, to me, are quite, I don't know, sort of, self-fulfilling, very, very significant moments. The fact that I, for me, as a fan of astronomy and space and science and stuff, ever since I was very small, to be able to look up and see light coming into my eyes from the nearest star, something that I'd never seen before on one evening. Profound is exactly the right word. Profound is the right word. Absolution has a target now. What's the safe distance? Okay, so I don't see. I've got Rigel and Rigel B. I'm not seeing anything on my. Do I need to jump in and jump back out again to get the thing to update? For a city dweller, seeing the Milky Way, the Milky Way is astonishing when you see that. Did I spot Hutton orbital? Alas, no, I didn't. Do I need to drop in and drop out to get my system map to update? I'm not seeing anything at the moment for the fleet carriers, which is a bit weird. Let me just drop out of Super Cruise. Let's slow down a bit first. So yes, I've been lucky enough, and I must admit, I don't know about you, for those of you who are into astronomy, there we go, who are into astronomy and things, and have spent your growing years. I mean, I've been into astronomy since I was like 7, and have spent all that time looking up into space and kind of looking at stars and planets and telescopes and all sorts of stuff, and having lived in the northern hemisphere my entire life, you tend to associate certain things in the sky being a certain way around, which of course is meaningless in space, but on the surface of a planet gives you a reference. Now, I'm very used to, obviously the sun rises in the east, it rises in the east everywhere, so I've got fleet carriers appearing here by reference number, but not by name. So I don't know which one's which is weird. Let me jump back into. So the sun rises in the east, but obviously in the northern hemisphere, the sun arcs upwards at a slight angle, particularly in the UK. It arcs up and traverses the sky to the south, and then sets in the west. Okay, so that's what it looks like in the northern hemisphere. Now, in the southern hemisphere, the sun doesn't do that. It rises in the east, but it it covers the sky in towards the north and then sets in the west. And when you look at familiar constellations, equatorial constellations like Orion from the UK, Betelgeuse is at the top and Rigel is at the bottom. In Australia, familiar constellations are still there. So I'm only getting names. What am I getting here? Absolution is at the wrong star. Wimbledon is close to the right. So which one's which? I kind of want one next to Rigel, really. So it must be that one. Wimbledon Common. Okay. So it's been a Wimbledon Common sort of evening. Okay. So let's go to the Wimbledon Common once more. Then I don't get accused of too much favouritism. It's a Wimbledon Common evening. Okay, so let's go to the A star. Wimbledon Common we'll use as our jump point tonight. But yeah, anyway, so what I was talking about, yeah, so you get used to sort of things. When I went to Australia, the constellation of Orion was upside down in the sky to me. Betelgeuse was at a lower angle than Rigel, and it really freaked me out. I actually felt, and in the daytime with the sun being in the northern part of the sky, most people, my wife was sort of giving me some slightly funny looks. She said, why are you finding this so weird? It's just the sun's in the sky. And I said, no, it's instinctively in the wrong place. And I've often wondered actually, because I've got a very good sense of direction. I can, even on a cloudy day, with no other reference markers in an unusual place, I can tell which way is north and south. I don't know whether I'm a slight. My wife says I'm a bit of a homing pigeon. She thinks I've got a slight bird brain. I think she says that in a nice way, because I can orientate myself. I know which way around. Like, there's so many things I've picked up over time. I spend a lot of time outdoors as well. that I'm used to reading things, possibly even subconsciously, to orientate myself. And in the northern hemisphere, that works really, really well. What I found when I went to Australia is that I couldn't do it anymore. Now, is the Wimbledon Common, has it not arrived yet, or is it invisible? Because it's quite nice to see it. To see it first. I'm not sure. It's just about 5 kilometres is where it's normally safe. So there's quite a few people in my instance here. That's encouraging. Is it not arriving? It says fleet carrier systematic for which services are provided by the carrier. It's not visible. Can I dock with it? Contacts. No. There's a few people here with me. Do we read the comments? Sorry. Oh, Wimbledon Common will be invisible until it arrives in 2 minutes. Okay. Sorry. 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 It's all in caps, because if I'm not reading it, the caps will help. Dear, quite funny. Right, okay, less than 2 minutes. Right, we'll hang around for a minute while it arrives. So there's definitely some. I don't know if it's. I've got sensitivity to the Earth's magnetic field. That sounds like a bit of a jump, but I think it's probably. I'm so used to instinctively looking up at the sky and orientating myself, or maybe taking markers from, vegetation and things like that, which of course will lean in certain directions and subtly will be different in which way around. But anyway, when I was in Australia, I felt really disorientated, really, actually, for a few days, slightly queasy whenever I was looking at the sky. And particularly at night, I was completely thrown because I couldn't recognise most of the stars. And that was a really, really unusual experience for me, because I'm so intimately familiar with the sky at night in the UK, that seeing the stars, and I didn't know where I was. I couldn't navigate. I couldn't instinctively feel which way round I was. Very, very strange. And most people don't experience that, I don't think, because they're not so familiar with the stars in the sky anyway. But I don't know if any of you have felt anything similar to that when you've been on holiday in somewhere that's far enough away from where you live. But there we go. Right, apparently it's jumping in now. So is it there? Plenty of ships here. Oh, there it comes. Here it is. Yep, it's coming in. Capital class signature detected. Let's thrust towards it, because why not? Here it is. The Wimbledon Common arrives. Very cool. Good to see it once more. Oops, I think I just bounced off some stuff. It's quite good to see that sort of. I don't know what that smoky stuff is, but there we go. The Wimbledon Common has arrived. Anyway, thank you very much for the Wimbledon Common arriving here. So if you're around, let's drop in on the Wimbledon Common. We'll use that as our going away point for tonight. Here it is. It's cruising in nicely there. So that's fantastic stuff. So I'm actually going to orientate myself as I usually do at the back of the ship. So if you can form up with me there, and then if you can invite a few people into the group, if possible. We haven't got that much time, I'm afraid, but what we need then is to get ourselves a star which is not too far away. Now what I would really like to be able to do is click on the star in the backdrop. That's one thing you can't do in Elite Dangerous, which is the only real problem there. Where's my ship still? Ah, there we go. Right, so I'm now stationary with respect to that. Let me see if I can find ourselves a hyperspace jump point, because of course, for those of you who don't know the stream, which I think most of you do, is we always finish with a mass hyperspace jump, and I don't know which way we're orientated. So let's just choose a star at random and see if we can work it out. Boom. So that's off to the right. Okay, so that won't do. Galaxy map. Let's rotate round and choose this one. That one's up there. This takes a while to try and figure out which direction we are pointing. Let's try one of these. So that is up behind us. That's not helping. It's difficult sometimes to tell which direction you're pointing in Elite. Let's try over there. That's up, and so I think we need to be round the other way. Let's try there. No, that's behind us, so that's not helping. It's quite hard to pick a star that's actually in front of you. I'm going to randomly choose one on the other side. Actually, that's not quite on the other side. Let's go over there. Where is that one? Because that's behind us as well. Oops. If anyone can tell me what a star is. Drew only has trouble with directions in Australia and Elite Dangerous. So yes, if you guys can be doing your wingy in thing for people who are not in the instance, that would be really good, because that does take a bit of time as well, unfortunately. That's probably a bit too far. I don't want to be jumping that quite that far. Let's go down there. Come on, give me a nice star. That one's getting better. Okay, so we are getting closer. Right, so let's try that one. It's a bit far though. Not too far down. That one's 50 light years off. That's almost in the right direction, so okay. So can we find a star in about that direction that's a bit closer? That one doesn't look too bad. Okay, so a bit up would be nice. Oh, this is quite tricky. There aren't that many stars in this vicinity actually. There's one there. I think that's one we've selected before. Let's see if that one's any good. Ah, it's off to the right. Okay, well we might have to orientate ourselves around. I'm going to struggle otherwise. So, so yeah. So let's fly across there. We'll have we'll do that one. I think that's a range that everybody can probably get to. Right, so I'm just going to type that in. So our hyperspace destination is Witchhead sector VZ-0 B6-0. There we go. That's where we're going to jump to in a moment. So if you can, for those of you who are in the instance with me, if you can form up behind me, as per usual, let's do this. We've got the fleet carrier there. I'm going to see a few people sort of getting organised. That's good. I'll just hold stationary for a minute. Lock onto that target. Can you post a Discord link if you have a... I can. Let me see if I can fire up Discord then. Let me try and get this up over here. I'll go and get my Discord link. There it is. Okay, so there we go. Right, so Discord link should be there. There we go. So yeah, Witchhead sector VZ-0 B6-0. It's not a very exciting name, but that's where we are going to be heading. I can see a bunch of ships there, which is cool. Okay, there's the fleet carrier sitting there as well. Thank you very much to Commander Sea Dweller and the Wimbledon Common this evening, and all the other fleet carriers. Oh, it's not a 0, is it not a 0? It's sorry, that's my mistake. It's VZ-O then, not a 0. So that's where we'll be heading in a moment. I can see a few ships here. So we've got a handful of ships in here. Quite nice. Always good to have as many ships as possible. I can see a few more joining the convoy. So if you are in the instance with me, if you form up behind me, and we'll start rolling the ship. We'll start rolling forward shortly. So yeah, my apologies. VZO, not VZ0. Normally you avoid using the letter O in those sort of things because it can get confused with the 0, but apologies for that. So anyways, we have now yeah, the instancing is something that we don't really have a great deal of control over, unfortunately, but it is one of those things that it becomes a bit of a pain. So anyway, we've got a few other ships hanging around in here, which is good. Okay, so I'm going to start a slow roll forward because we'll need to be out of mast lock range of the fleet carrier anyway. So we'll start there. Now, it's a very good question, is next week's destination. Okay, so it will actually be in the Witchhead Nebula. I will give you a more specific locale in a bit. But yeah, the Witchhead Nebula is approximately where we're going. I will choose a destination in there as soon as I can, so you can all get organised for the next week. I just need to scout a couple of places out actually, so I will let you know. But it's not too far away. It will be the Witchhead Nebula, and we're doing a bit more of Orion next week. Right, so let's start a slow roll. I've got a couple more. Is that a wing request or a friend request? Invites, there we go. So pending friend request, there we go. So Ubermeg, you should be able to jump in and jump out. Just disable that, otherwise it makes funny noises. And with a bit of luck you'll be able to get into the instance that way. Right, so a slow roll forward then. I'm going to set about, I normally do about, there we go, about 100 meters per second is what I normally aim to do, I think, for this bit. That gets us slowly cruising away. Let's see if I can get it close to 100. Oh, 99, there we go, that'll do. Drew, you're going to remember not to jump until we all have this week. Yeah. I'll do my best. I've kind of got to coordinate things at this end. So, right. So let me turn around. Let's turn off the GUI because it looks much nicer without the GUI. So if you can sort of form up, I'm travelling forward now at 100 kilometers per second. So if you can form up with me, that would be good. And then we should be able to get a nice shot of us pulling away from. There we are, from the fleet carrier, with look it up. So where to go up? Home. No, page up. There we go. I don't want to get too far up actually. There we go. As we pull away from the fleet carrier. So if you are able to jump into the instance, then please do. But it's time. It is time. So. I'll give you a little bit of a countdown, and then we can kind of all jump away. So this is us leaving Rigel. We've done Taurus. We've diagonally crossed Orion, but of course it is still time for us to remember our dearly departed Sean Connery, who alas has left us in the last few days. So there's we need a bit of an epic tune. Blinded by the headlights, yeah. I will try and turn them off. Will they turn off? They won't turn off, will they? Because I can't. Oh, there we go. I can control the ship. There we go. So we need an epic tune with Sean Connery in mind to jump out to tonight. And we should do more mass jumps coordinated. We go. Yeah, we'll do those again. Those are good fun too. So we've got plenty of ships here tonight, and we'll do more things like that. That's quite good. That's quite good. So right. So anyway, so dear Sean Connery, epic tune. I think you know what it is. So here we go, and this is for Sean. There we go. Right, hyperspace ho everybody. Charge those drives. I will film it from here, and you guys hit that hyperspace jump now. And I hope somewhere Sean Connery enjoyed that. So just a little memorial for Sean. Fantastic films, and a greatly missed actor. So fantastic fun. So there we go. So anyway, my friends, Witchhead Nebula next week. We will rendezvous there. I'll send up a destination for that. Blake 7. We've done Blake 7, I think. You might have to go and find one of the previous streams. I should put on the put on the stream which music we were ripping off at the time. I think we've done Blake 7. But yeah, Witchhead is next week, and if you can be prepping your ships for longer range jumps, that will serve you well, because we have some greater distances to go. The further on we get with the Astro Tour, the greater the distances become. So there will be some significant jumps. Back to the Future themes. Now that is a very good idea, Commander Terraformer. So yes, I might have a think, and I will put it in the Discord as well. Yes, apologies for not always updating the Discord. I keep so many things to update, I keep forgetting. Always bring an SRV. It's always good fun to be able to tool around. So up your jump range as much as you can for your existing ship. It will definitely help you out. So we've got some distances to travel, and they get further and further and further away from Earth. Can I post the Discord link? It should be that one, my friend. Give it a try. If not, send me a tweet or a Facebook or something on the forum outside of here, and we can try it again. But anyway, thank you very much. See you all next week. Hope you've been enjoying the Astro tour. It'll be more of the same. A little bit of astronomy, a bit of fun and games, a little bit of GalNet, and of course hyperspace jumps and general fleet carrier shenanigans to dodgy MIDI files that I created. And I have great fun. I say I do it all on this little Ikai synthesizer I have here, which does allow me to kind of revisit my youth where I used to do lots and lots of MIDI work again. But it's all good. Anyway, you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of the week. Take care of yourself. It's a bit of a crazy world out there right now with lockdowns and elections and stuff, but I still have huge faith in the general decency of most folk, despite our various political inclinations and the things we like and the things we don't like. We can all get on and we put a bit of effort in. Life is all about having a bit of fun and having a good time as far as I'm concerned. So take it easy, be safe, be good, have fun, and I will see you next week. Right on, Commanders 07, and thank you very much. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye now.